guitar music that comes on every Monday through Friday, live at 5 on the Evil Thing Network on the X YouTube. Check us out, subscribe, type in iNewsWire, Roy Bleckert, and you'll see my nice, shining, smiling face on all that stuff. And you can catch our archives all anytime, 24/7, 365 on those platforms and more. Man, what a day. We'll get to I wanted to get to the rest of the Elon Musk interview with Katie Miller. He had some good things to say, interesting things to say about AI, Trump, Charlie Kirk, conspiracies. Humans, are they good or are they bad? Are we getting worse? Social media and many, many, many more things. And we'll get into some other topics, but one of the, as we say, lead stories, as you see, car gets buried in the mud in Wrightwood as shelter-in-place orders remain in effect. We'll catch a little bit of that report, hopefully, by ABC7 of where that was. Here we go.
Full winter storm that pushed through the community of Wrightwood. Just check this out. This is one of several cars that was left buried by all the water, mud, and debris that flowed down the mountainside when the flash flooding started.
The only thing I have to say about this, and this whole storm that came about, I wish they'd quit gaslighting us on this weather. You know, we were supposed to have, and, you know, in the mountain areas and stuff where it is subject to flash flooding and stuff is very important, and those should be a warning. But the whole, we're getting 8 to 12 to 90 million inches of rain. It's coming. It's going to start on Tuesday. Well, it didn't even start till noon on Wednesday and barely rained lightly for that. No rain. It was supposed to be a gully washer. Oh, Doomsday was coming on that. It didn't even rain. In fact, the sun was out a lot. It's starting to rain. Then, Friday we're going to have back to this. Again, this is started about 1 o'clock here in Moville. It's been rained extremely lightly. So quit gaslighting us on all this weather stuff going on. Yeah, because we're not going to believe you if it actually is going to be something coming up. Because you keep this insane policy of, this isn't even overhyping, it's just plain ridiculous. Plus our reservoirs, and mainly NorCal's where we got to worry about the water, the reservoirs are now at 120% full. So I'm sure we're going to hear, we're going to have a drought. They're probably not turning on the pumps, filling up where they should be. And who knows, it's a whole con game, as we say. Elon Musk had an interview a couple weeks ago with Katie Miller. We did a little bit of it on Wednesday of that. I want to delve deeper into that. That was on the Doge cuts and stuff. He talked about AI, Trump, as we said, conspiracy, social media, Charlie Kirk, and all that other stuff. Katie asked him about his opinions on AI. So, let's see if they're going to run. Here's the first one.
To worry about money or work because AI is going to take care of the rest, AI and robotics. What do you mean that people won't have to work in the future?
Assuming the current trend of artificial intelligence and robotics continues, which seems likely, the AI and robots will be able to do anything that humans want them to do, essentially. So hopefully not more than that, but AI and robotics will be able to provide all the goods and services that anyone could possibly want.
That's going to be an interesting concept. AI and robotics are going to provide all the services and goods anybody wants. So basically, people are saying, well, they're not going to replace the trades. Elon Musk is basically telling you they are. They're actually going to have artificial intelligence, the way he's seeing it, artificial intelligence and robotics will actually be able to replace your plumber, uh, the the grocery store clerk, the lineman up there fixing the the electric wires when they short out during the rains or whatever. He's saying that people are saying, well, there will always be trades in this and or that. According to Elon Musk and the way he sees it, no, there isn't. What are we going? If there's no work, what are 8 billion people going to do? That's going to be the big question. I see, but we'll see. Here's the next one from Elon.
But you wouldn't need to work. Like, what would you do with your free time?
I guess people will be able to do whatever they want with their free time. Work will be optional.
That's a dangerous concept. You think the 3x5 scrolling and stuff and the porno looking on that and all that is dangerous now? When people got 24/7, 365 free time from the time of birth till 80s or 90s or whenever when they die, that's a really scary thought.
I mean, I just want to separate out from like what I wish would happen versus what I predict will happen, because people get confused about that. They think that what I predict will happen is what I want it to happen. Yeah. What I predict to happen is not the same as what I want to happen. If I could, I would certainly slow down AI and robotics, but I can't.
That's the big conundrum. How do you stop it? If the United States decides we're not going to do AI anymore, we're just going to can that, the Chinese, Russia, Arab Emirates, whomever, Japan, they're going to keep going. And I think that's what Elon Musk is saying. Even though he has great concerns about what might happen with this, he can't stop it. I don't think nobody can. Once, you're not going to stop progress, innovation, technology, people wanting to improve or do things. It's just not going to happen. You can't stick your head in the sand is what I think he's saying.
It just seems to be, well, it's advancing at a very rapid pace.
That deep pause where it's advancing at a very rapid pace means this stuff could be on top of us much quicker than we may think or anticipate or can even fathom. And I think that when Elon Musk says that's a scary thought, that should make a lot of us rear ends pucker of what's coming down the pike with this.
Whether I like it or not.
Is AI what keeps you up at night?
It used to be. At this point, I don't know. I wouldn't say there's nothing particularly keeping me up at night right now, except that. But if you say why do I wake up in nightmares? Oh, AI, yeah. Actually, I've had a lot of AI nightmares.
He's had a lot of AI nightmares. He said it kept him up at night a lot, but now it doesn't. I think he's rationalized this is coming whether we like it or not. We better prepare for it, work for it, dig down, make it the best it can be. Because there is not going to be, there's no turning the clock back. You're not going to reverse it. You're not going to say this is happening. It's happening. So you better deal with it. And we will one way or the other. And that's why I say, even as much trepidation as I have, I'm like with Musk and Trump and many others. The United States has to lead this and be the dominant part of the technology, because this thing can get out of hand real quick. We'll deal with some of the other stuff Musk has come up with on this here as we move along.
I had AI nightmares many days in a row. What am I supposed to do about it?
What's your biggest irrational fear?
I try not to have irrational fears.
None?
If I find an irrational fear, I squelch it. I don't believe fear is the mind killer. So I'm not somebody who feels fear strongly.
On average, how many hours do you sleep a night?
6.
Let me see if I can get my mic on. We should get to this point of where we're actually getting to the point of not dealing with it and saying, okay, accept it, embrace it, let's make it the best we can, even with all the stuff that's going on. Here, let's see. This was interesting. Let's say, of what he had to say on Trump, because one of the most intriguing things that everybody comes up with is how we deal with Donald J. And so here is his comment. The question was kind of weird, but I think he kind of spun it. But here we go.
Who's the funniest person you know in real life?
You know, President Trump is very funny. He's got a great sense of humor.
President Trump is very funny.
He's very funny. He's like naturally funny, but it's like somewhat effortless. I mean, you know, when he was had Mamdani in the office, and they asked him if he still thought the president was fascist, and the president said, "Just say yes. It's easier that way." It's
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. Just say yes. That was awesome. He's like, yes. How silly.
Who do you look up to?
So that was an interesting shot, I thought, that Trump was the funniest person Elon Musk knows. Which I wouldn't necessarily say Trump is the funniest, but he is right, like with the Mamdani deal. And I think he put Mamdani and everybody at ease when that question was with Mamdani, do you think Trump is a fascist? And everybody's thinking, oh man, here's the gotcha question. And Trump diffused that immediately and said, oh yeah, just go ahead and say yes, it's all right, we know, it's already on the table. Let's don't try to sugarcoat it or try to, spin it or come up with an answer. And even as part of it being funny, I think it put more people at ease in that situation. And Trump has a very great ability to do that and to set people at ease in those situations where many others would have, Joe Biden, or would have made a complete mess of that, as we say, and a lot of others that are president or whatever couldn't deal with that type of situation. So I found it informative, but I found it interesting that he thought Trump was the funniest person he knew. Here's Elon Musk on Charlie Kirk. Here we go.
Has Charlie's murder changed how you do things? Or were you already locked down pretty well before that?
It certainly reinforced the severity of the situation where life is on hardcore mode. You make one mistake and you're dead. It only takes one mistake.
What's one moment in your life that you could live again just to...
So that was very interesting. He said you make one mistake. I don't know what the mistake per se was. Let's just say, I think what he meant was you're in the wrong situation, wrong place, wrong time. I don't know, everybody in the whole, and I've stayed off of most of the Charlie Kirk, conspiracies and this and that. The trial should be coming up fairly soon. Then, obviously, everyone will have to lay their cards up on the table, and we'll see where all this stuff shakes out. And, I mean, I'm still of a firm belief Tyler Robinson may have shot him, or somebody up in the upper levels of that. Wasn't from a 30-06, and not to get graphic, a 30-06 at that range would have blown his head off. And then the frangible round in the doctors. There's just too much. The whole thing is just, who knows? I've said at this point we may never. This may be another JFK, whatever conspiracy theory. We may never know exactly how this stuff went down or what was going on, but we'll see. But it's, it's circumstances, like the Greg Biffle thing, or, him dying and his family and one of his closest friends and the pilot and his son. Just happened to be, how many millions of miles of flights you go through, and nothing ever happens. It's one of the great mysteries. But yeah, I think Charlie Kirk was more wrong place at the wrong time, with the wrong deal or whatever, and that'll be another one. Hopefully when the trial starts here fairly soon, we'll at least get some more clarity. At least there'll be more evidence put out on the situation. We can make a better judgment of what's going on versus all the stuff that's been slung on this stuff. It's really, really, really something else. Elon Musk on conspiracies.
What's a conspiracy theory you believe in?
I mean, which conspiracy theories haven't come true at this point? We've run out of conspiracy theories that...
I agree 111% with Musk on that one. Which conspiracy theories haven't come out? It's like the new joke going around. A conspiracy theory is going to be the truth 3-6 months a year down the road. I mean, the COVID con being the, let's say, the latest, greatest example we've had of that. All of us that stood our ground, and there wasn't very many of us. I mean, only 20%, roughly 60, 70 million people out of 350 million did not get at least one clot shot. Of course, I'm in the very slim minority out of 1 in 5 or so, 1 in 6 that didn't, did not get the shot. But that was practically everything every one of us said as far as this is an they're running irrational fears. There's no way that this thing's going to be anywhere near as dangerous, or you needed the shot, or the 6-foot social distancing, or a mask is going to protect you, and on and on and on. You're going to kill your family if you go to Thanksgiving dinner, and the whole stupidity that went on with that. It was, and again, I agree with the deal, which conspiracy lately has not come through. And I'm not even going back to the Charlie Kirk thing. I'm not necessarily saying that, Tyler Robinson didn't do it, did do it, had some role in it, but didn't pull the trigger. There could be all that, but as of now, we don't have enough evidence to put our finger on exactly what was going on. Like I said about, if he was shot by a 30-06 with that, then what, and the first story was, Charlie was as tough as, tougher than titanium steel, his neck stopped the bullet. And then, we heard this recent report, supposedly the surgeon said, no, I never said anything like that. We found the bullet on that. It was a frangible round. Because if it was a frangible round, which means a disintegrating round when it hits something solid, you're not going to find a complete bullet. You might find a fragment down that far where they said. But they said, the story was a bullet. So, again, whether it be the conspiracy theory of Charlie Kirk or COVID or whatever, I believe that we're in one of those times, I should say, when we're really, really, really going to have let's say the awakening is going to be more like, hey, don't give us any more complete BS crap like you've been shoveling down our throats for so long. And some things, the good things about technology that we've had here lately is the information does get out there quickly and at full force and where they can't stop it. This isn't 60 years ago plus or whatever with the JFK deal where they could put the crimps on it. Or let's go through all of them. It was much easier to suppress the news media, the information flow, took hours and days and weeks before you ever got anywhere close to the information we get in minutes, it seems like, or seconds, or even before it happens, sometimes it seems like. So we're definitely on a pace, it seems like, to maybe fix some of the things, some of the wrongs that we always did, but sometimes that may cause even more trepidation, more harm.
Got about 1 minute, Roy.
You got it. That's what Sean said. But we'll be on the Mighty Met in about a minute. But we're in that point. And, I never had any much trepidation about technology until this AI thing. That one's got, if especially a guy like Elon Musk is nervous about it.
30 seconds.
I would say, again, should make all of our rear ends pucker at least a little bit of what may be coming down the pike. And we should.
The Chinese just deployed robots along their border for protection. That should tell you something.
There you go. I mean, we better get on the stick. It's
here we go. 10 seconds.
It's here whether you like it or not. PatriotSwitch.com.
IE Newswire Daily is on the air. The following is a paid program. Views and claims expressed are those of the program producer and are not endorsed by this station. Opinions expressed are not necessarily those of radio station KMET, its management, employees, or affiliates.
There's that funky slide guitar music that comes on every Monday through Friday live, 5:30 on the Mighty Met 1490 AM, broadcasting all over the Inland Empire in the form of chain AM. Join our vast video audience in the Evil Up Network, Rumble, X, YouTube. Check us out, type in iNewsWire on all those, and Roy Bleckert. You'll see my nice, smiling, shining face coming across. On this post-Christmas edition, the after Christmas party, as we say, you can go look at the Roy Bleckert page on Evil at B Network. You'll see my after Christmas party from 7 years ago, my world famous picture going on that. A lot of you might want to check that out, even though Facebook tries to suppress most anything we're doing over here. But go check it out. It's got to have a little fun in this world that seems to be going insane. We've been doing the Katie Miller interview with Elon Musk of that, and we've covered, his thoughts on AI, Trump. He thought Trump was the funniest guy he knew, which I thought was interesting. His thoughts on the Charlie Kirk assassination conspiracies, irrational fears. And that is, and he was trepidation a little bit of that. He was fearful of, and that kept him up at nights, thinking about AI and stuff. And then, he finally had to come to the conclusion that, hey, we're either it's happening. And the best thing is if the United States of America leads that, because if we don't, it's going to be the Chinese, the Japanese, Russians, Arab Emirates, or whatever, Saudi Arabia, or a consortium of them. As Sean said just before we came on KMET, China, if he's right, and I'm sure he is, China's putting robots to patrol their borders. It's coming. And I mean, and as Elon talked about before, it's going to replace the trades. He said AI and robotics is going to do everything, which if you combine those two, is the guy going to be like where it's raining here and the power goes out? Is there going to be a robot that's going to climb up the pole and fix the wires? Shouldn't necessarily be bad, because, if you want to look at it this way, the two most dangerous jobs in the world are linemen, the guys that go up and fix the electricity, or commercial fishermen. Per capita, and not to put down cops or firefighters or anything like that, they're not usually even in the top 25 of dangerous jobs. But most people don't know. Commercial fishermen and your lineman that goes out there and fixes the electricity are your two most dangerous occupations you can get into. But, if there's a robot going up there, now if they can make a robot, and, if a robot gets zapped, because especially when it's raining and stuff and you're playing with electricity of gazillion volts and amps going down there, you could just be in one of, you're playing with fire on that. That's a very dangerous occupation. It's going to be a real, every generation says that, and I've heard it for, and I've been on this earth parts of 7 decades. I really think this one, we're in for another 5, 10, 20 years. It's going to see maybe technical innovations advance as much or more than they have since recorded human history. And that's not hyperbole on that. But let's see what good old Elon has to say. Are humans good?
What's your favorite age to parent of your kids?
Generally, kids are the most fun between 5 and 10.
Do you think humanity is inherently good, or is it just trying to be?
The concept of good wouldn't exist without humanity. I do think humanity is on balance good. I generally think like increasing the amount of consciousness in the universe is a good thing. Try to understand the nature of the universe, which you can only do by increasing conscious awareness. I mean, I've thought about like, how did we get here? Because if we did start out as a hydrogen gas cloud that sort of condensed and then formed stars, and then these stars exploded, and then they recondensed, formed stars again, and then exploded again, and then eventually you get to us, 13.8 billion years later. And one of the interesting questions to think about is, how many times have your atoms been at the center of a star? I think it's like, on average, 3 or 4 times, something like that. Then how many times will your atoms be at the center of a star? Estimates vary, but it seems like we're roughly halfway. So your atom's likely to be at the center of the star maybe another 4 times or something like that. It depends on what your predictions are for the future, but in terms of...
So, he was on track, but not quite. And this is a concept I've talked about. In order to know good, you have to have bad, because there cannot be a good without a bad. You have no distinction. That's kind of the problem, or the concern, let's say, maybe a better choice of words, I have with the AI, and I think Elon does too. If you don't have to work, there's no contrast that you have to do anything, what are human beings going to do? And even so, what is going to be their purpose of being on Earth? How many species have went extinct over that? And, whatever billions or whatever years just our universe supposedly has been around. I mean, the amount of time that humans have been on planet Earth isn't... The amount of time in, let's say, the whole, just even the universe of that is nothing. It can't even hardly be expressed in any amount of time. It's been so short. But then again, like I say, what do 8 billion humans do? If there's no work, you don't have to build anything. You don't have to build a house. You don't have to change the diapers on your kids. I mean, if that's what the concept is, or like Elon says, nobody is going to have to work. It's all going to be done by AI and robotics. Then what are you going to do? Stare at the 3x5 screen all 24/7, 365? That's even a more horrific thought than anything. At least from my perspective on it.
Existence as measured by the number of times your atoms will be at the center of a star, we seem to be roughly halfway. That really, if you want to look at the big picture, that's the really big picture.
What's one invention that's made us worse, not better?
What's one adventure that's made us worse?
Invention.
Maybe short form video.
There you go. Name one, Elon Musk, name one invention that's made us worse, not better. Short form video. Kill the attention span. Kill thought. Kill the creativity that it takes to make a full-length 2-hour movie. No, you can make a 2-minute or 30-second or a 1.5 minute or something blip on the TT machine or something, and you're a superstar. You get 20 million views, and everybody knows your name or something. And I would agree, if that's not number one, it's got to be in the top 3. of all time things that have made us worse. You know, this, and whether by design or evolution or anything else or conspiracy theory, you know, it's the establishment, it's whatever. The New World Order, Bohemian Grove, or all the, you know, the many alphabet soup agencies that have Council on Foreign Relations. That was a big one. You hardly hear that name anymore, which is somewhat interesting. But all these so-called conspiracy groups that you see coming down the pike, and it's really hard to say one way or the other, you know, who's all pulling the strings on this stuff, but we do know that it's there. Going along with that, here's Elon's comments, I believe, on social media.
I think social media has made people more honest or more performative.
Well, social media makes people more performative.
No kidding. And that, duh. Everybody wants to be seen. Everybody can be seen. That's, you know, the technology, the 3x5 screen, you know, from computer to, you know, from that to tablets and laptops down to the 3x5 screen, phone, cell phone, whatever you want to refer. And you shouldn't call it a phone. The least used application of what we call a cell phone now is actually the phone. But, you know, it's probably the better term for it is just a mini PC, you know, mini personal computer or communication device. And that's basically what it boils down to. It's the evolution of a phone. A phone was a communication device. You could call somebody and even clear across the world, even though it might take you a while to get there. It might take you 5 or 10 minutes back in the old day. Whatever was the laughing root buzzy or whatever with the one ringy dingy and plugging in this. For those of you probably under 60, go search Laughing and Ruth Buzzy in Ernestine the operator. But no, it's very sophisticated now communication device that you're carrying around in your pocket. Practically everybody in the world is. Let's say there's probably 4 or 5 billion people now that have cell phones.
By the same token, you get more real life video of things that are actually happening.
It's like this, you know, and people, you can't show death scenes and all that. Well, let's say the most recent one. Let's go back to the Charlie Kirk assassination. I'd say within 15 minutes, him getting assassinated live was going all around the world. I mean, because you got 3,000 people there, or whatever the number was, all with cell phones. Most of them were probably, or quite a few of them, probably 20 or 30% of them at the time. Even let's just say 20%, there's 600 cell phones that are recording an event like the Charlie Kirk and he gets assassinated. Well, heck, it's going all over the world. So you're not going to stop, you know, like the one rationale for taking down the cameras, you know, the camera that was behind Charlie Kirk is, well, we don't want Erica to see it. Well, that was what before he was even getting the camera, the SDI chip or whatever you call it out, it was going all around the world. So you'll never get rid of that. That genie you're not going to put back in the bottle. You're going to have to deal with.
And anything that is very interesting will go viral on the internet. So you have both. You've got more performative, where people are doing anything they can to get a few more views on their TikTok video or whatever, or their reels, or maybe on their X post or something. So that's very performative. But then you also see real life videos that challenge the narrative, but are nonetheless real.
That's a conundrum. That's a distinction we should be making that we're not. The performative, look at me, it's all about me, I, me. That's a performative. Where the technology is absolutely great is, like he said, you want to get information. If we use this as a tool to make society better, to get more participation in our communities, more help out there, more community involvement, more participation in our political process, more shining the light on the cockroaches that are in there. I mean, look at the Somali deal that's breaking out in Minnesota with Tampon Timmy the retard Walls. And I mean, we're getting the language back. And I'm going to say this. Out of 8 billion frickin' people on this earth, name me one besides yours truly, who you're tuned in today, that did not stop using the word retard. Who's not going to be bullied, intimidated, or shamed into not using the word correctly. Now, if you're describing Timmy Walsh as an incompetent boob idiot, that's perfectly acceptable. Now, if somebody is calling somebody who's mentally disabled a retard, that's a whole different thing. That's what should be not tolerated. But don't just wipe out completely the use of the word in its proper context because some people are misusing it. And that's the difference between being performative and being useful. And that's the distinction we need to make. We should be making. We should be teaching kids how to use a 3x5 screen to their advantage as a tool. No different than a pipe wrench. I mean, you can use a pipe wrench for good or evil. You know, you can use it to take it apart or build a house with plumbing in it. It's not going to kill you because we're spreading disease. Plumbing, the #1 healthcare device built in recorded human history, saved far more lives or extended far more lives than doctors or medicine or hospitals ever have. Or you can use it for evil. You know, you can use a pipe wrench to whack somebody over the head and kill them.
Is there any X accounts you're surprised when you changed it so people could see country of origin that wasn't in the United States that you thought was in the United States?
I don't really think about it that much. I mean, there's, country of origin. We have to be a little careful about this. You can actually technically, just specify your region. Like you can say I'm in Asia or something like that, right, which is quite big. But it does make it a little harder that if somebody is trying to pretend that they're, say, a member of the American public or in...
That, I think, there's too many. I mean, you could probably take any kid 8 years old and up and can defeat that. Again, I think that's another one of those irrational fears that it sounds good on paper, but it doesn't work. And that's what we need to keep That's what we need to differentiate, I think, in my opinion, on this stuff versus the just idiotic, everybody just has a cow about everything. What would you do if you started from scratch?
If you had to start from scratch today with only $1,000, what would you do?
Well, I did originally come to North America with like, I don't know, $2,500 Canadian, so I don't know, maybe $2,000 US. One bag of books and one bag of clothes in Montreal at age 17. So that is how I started out. At this point, I have a lot of knowledge. A lot of things would have to go wrong for that to be the case. It's like, am I just emerging from prison, perhaps? With a stipend? All my companies have been confiscated. I mean, it would take Armageddon, which hopefully that doesn't happen. Like Ragnarok next level, and I lost.
Yeah.
What the hell?
It's a bad hand.
I mean, it's impossible for me, for someone to have that amount of knowledge, all the knowledge that I have, and then be dropped down to a low resource amount. Because the reality is that either something truly catastrophic has happened, like civilization has melted, or I will be able to ask people to just give me money, and with the promise that I will have a high return, which is what I'm able to do right now.
Yeah.
Like, if you give me $1, you will get back much more than $1.
Yes.
So it's somewhat of an impossible dichotomy, because civilization would have had to have been destroyed or something. In which case, $1,000 is not going to solve your problems. You can't do much with this. If you're wandering around radioactive craters, and you're in, like, fallout or whatever.
So here's the answer to that question. The correct answer to that question was I don't know. I didn't know when I came to America with only $2,000 at 17 that I was going to be the richest man in the world and do X, Y, and Z and have all this knowledge. You can't predict that. You can't predict today the next guy that comes out of nowhere like Elon Musk or anything, or how you do that. If there was a set formula for doing it, everybody would be doing it. So, and I mean, kind of in a roundabout way, he was getting to that. Like, hey, how do you, there is no, the correct, the first thing he should have said is there is no answer to that question. That's the evolution of life, society, our world, our planet. It's all a crapshoot. You don't know. Hey, you could, like some dude in Arkansas hit 1.8 billion in the lottery. 250 million to 1, whatever the goofy odds are on that, of doing that. But some, the rationale for doing it is, well, somebody's going to win. And that's the whole enchilada per se. And that's where we are in any point in our existence. That's just the way it is, as Walter Cronkite used to say. And the way it is, I think, is how he said it. He ended his broadcast on December 26th, 1967, or whenever he was on the news. And that is that you're never going to be able to predict that. that, well, if you had $1,000 to do, what would you do today? Well, who knows? You'll have to wait till history comes out and look back and see if that actually did, or who in this generation may have done that and why and how it came about. If anyone was that good at predicting the future, they would probably rule the world, because you would be able to anticipate almost anything that was coming down the pike. Oh, man, we're just a few days, less than a week now, from the end of 2025. Of course, like any, it's been a very interesting time, year. The good, the bad, and the ugly, as they say. Notice there's two negatives always in that statement, just because people are naturally negative. No matter what, no matter how you say it, even if you listen to the answers of Elon Musk. There's a lot of negativity that comes out in that, and most people's answers to questions or outlook on that. And that causes a lot of the irrational fears that people have, in my opinion. But we shall see. It's definitely, and I still think this, as we go into 2026, man, we're going to see some things nobody's predicted, could have thought about, or even on a scale that's never happened before. I mean, that's happened in, throughout society. I think it's going to be at a breakneck pace. That's for sure. That'll do it for this week. Usually say at this time, mandatory, you're back here in 71 hours. Why? You're the best darn show in the whole wide world. Until then, see ya.
The preceding was a paid program.
All right, Roy, all clear.
You got it.
I sent you that article on your cell phone, a link
Oh,
to that
okay.
article, so you can check it out.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested in that one.
Yeah, they're deploying them on the border of Vietnam and China for a few different reasons. That's
Those evil racists are protecting their border down in China.
Yeah, yeah,
I wonder if we're going to hear that.
Yeah, quite interesting, though. I mean,
It was, yeah. No, I'm going to definitely check that out.
Yeah, well, they're way ahead of us when it comes to that kind of stuff.
That's what I'm afraid of.
Robotics and AI, and supposedly they've actually got robots that are like really strong and stuff too. Now, one of the robots that they nicknamed was the T-800. Like the one from the Arnold Schwarzenegger movies. There,
Right.
Yeah, Terminator. Yeah,
Yes.
one of them is nicknamed after that one.
We're definitely in some interesting times.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll talk to you Monday.
You got her.